All right. Welcome to lesson 5.1 and a half. We are going to do just a quick algebra review, which is why it's 5.1 and a half. We are going to review the various properties of exponents that you learned in Algebra 1. That was a long time ago, so we want to pause to make sure that you know these. So what I have done for you is I just have all of these properties on page 4, all of these filled out. So what I'm going to have you do is just pause the video at this point and copy in all of these. I'm not going to go through them one by one. I will when we go through examples. But for right now, you can just pause the video, get all of this down, and then we will do some examples of it. So you can take a second to pause the video now and do that. So the expectation is that you have these down now. So we are going to do some examples where we actually work with these different exponent properties. And hopefully this all starts coming back to you from Algebra 1. So if we look at page 5 here, we have to simplify the following radicals using the appropriate properties. So let's just do some of these here. Take a look at number 1. This is all multiplication. So you do 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Then x squared times x to the 4th. You're looking at a total number of x's being multiplied. You have 2 x's multiplied here, 4 x's multiplied there. So it is an x to the 6th. And then that is as far as you can take that one. All right, so let's take a look at number 2. Now this is division. So since it's division, I will start with 4 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And for each of these, the property for division says you subtract your exponent. So here, this is an x to the 2nd over x to the 1st. So you do 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is an x to the 1st or just x. But another way you can think about it, if you take a look at your y's up here, there are 4 y's in the numerator and 6 y's in the denominator. So 4 of these will cancel out 4 of those. So all 4 of these are gone. And if I had 6 in the denominator, but 4 of them get canceled out, now I only have 2 of them left in the denominator. You could subtract them and do 4 minus 6 and get negative 2. Then remember, you make that exponent positive and bring it to the denominator. You'll ultimately end with a y squared in the denominator. But if you think about it this way, again, you have 3 z's in the numerator, 5 z's in the denominator. So 3 of those will cancel out 3 from the denominator. So then you end with 2x over y squared z squared, and that is your denominator. Number 3, I don't care what's inside these parentheses. If you raise anything to the power of 0, anything to the power of 0 is going to equal 1. So hope for those problems, because those are the easy ones. Anything to the 0th is equal to 1. Number 4, each of these terms, the 4 and the x, need to get raised to the power of negative 2. So you have 4 to the negative 2 and x to the negative 2. So remember how this works with negative exponents. You make them positive and move them to the denominator. So since this is a 4 to the negative 2, I'm going to make it 4 to the positive 2 in the denominator. Same thing with my x. It was an x to the negative 2. I'm going to make that positive and bring it to the denominator. And I'll simplify this slightly because I know that 4 squared is 16. So then this becomes 1 over 16x squared. But just be very careful that when this negative 2 is out here, that it applies to both of the terms on the inside. All right, so we'll do a few more here just so that you can get the hang of it. All right, 7x squared times x. You can think of this as an x to the 1st. So then now you have a total of 3 x's being multiplied, so 7x to the 3rd. In number 2, this is a whole string of multiplication. So I will multiply my 4 and my 2 together. 4 times 2 is 8. So I kind of took care of the 4 and the 2. I'm going to combine my x's. I have an x squared and an x to the third, so the total number of x's that I have multiplied together are 5, so that's an x to the fifth. Here I have y to the negative 3 and y 5, so once again I'm going to add those exponents together, and negative 3 plus 5 is 2. So you have 8x to the fifth y squared by adding your exponents for the x's and adding your exponents for the y's. All right, number 3. Once again, there's two terms that this negative 2 needs to attach to both of them. So this ends up being 2 to the negative 2 times m cubed to the negative 2. So what 2 to the negative 2 becomes, and then m cubed to the negative 2 becomes, you want to make this positive and bring it to the denominator. So 2 squared moves to the denominator. What this would become, this is power to a power. So m cubed to the negative 2 becomes m to the negative 6. Power to power, you multiply those. So m to the negative 6 moved to the denominator is m to the positive 6. And 2 squared is 4. So this should get you 1 over 4 m to the positive 6. And you need to make sure when you simplify these, you do not end with any negative exponents. You can only have positive exponents. So let's take a look at number 4. If I was only going to worry about 3 over 6 and say, all right, simplify 3 over 6, I hope you would simplify that into 1 over 2. That's a fraction that simplifies into a half. Okay. Now let's take a look at our x's. This is an x squared over x to the negative 2. So remember, when you have division, you subtract your exponents. And so if I do 2 minus negative 2, 2 minus a negative is like 2 plus a positive 2, which is 4. So actually the exponent on x becomes a 4. If I take a look at my y's, what this would be is negative 4 minus 5. So the exponent of negative 4 minus 5, well, negative 4 lose 5 more. That's a negative 9. And then my z squared is still just hanging out down here, so I won't mess with that. Okay, but I just said we can't end with negative exponents. So what I need to do with my final step is I need to make this positive and move it down here. So it becomes x to the 4th in the numerator all over 2 y to the 9th z squared. There's actually a lot of different ways that you can go about simplifying this. You can move the negative exponents first. It doesn't really matter as long as you end up here. Okay. So a few more and then we will be all set. Number 1, just remember that this negative 3 gets attached to everything in the parentheses. So the numerator and the denominator both go to the power of negative 3. But you can't have negative exponent. You don't end with negative exponents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them positive, and then they'll end up switching positions. So 4 to the negative 3 over 5 to the negative 3 is equivalent to this, where the 3's become positive, but then your numerator and your denominator switch. And then if you have your calculator to assist you, 5 to the third is 125, and 4 to the third is 64. So that fraction becomes 125 over 64. Taking a look at number 2, once again, this negative 2 has to attach to both of them, and it's power to a power, so you multiply. So power to power, you multiply 2 times negative 2 for both of these is negative 4. But just like we did here, you make them positive and you switch your numerator and denominator. So you make them positive and switch your numerator and your denominator. So this will end up with y to the fourth over x to the fourth. So hopefully these properties start making a little bit more sense. Hopefully seeing a few of these has proved helpful. You can try these out, and if you try these out, you should end here with a positive 2, and you should end here with a 1 over x to the third. So if you want to try those, hopefully you end up getting these answers. All right, good work, and until next time.